Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me today because we are looking at one of the most fascinating symmetries in the entire history of modern sports. Imagine this: two massive nations, two giant tournaments, and literally the exact same opening matchup, separated by precisely 16 years. Today, we are looking at the poetic and honestly sometimes jarring mirror image of Mexico and South Africa meeting in the opening matches of the World Cup in 2010 and then again in 2026. We're going to unpack how the sport, the refereeing, and just the sheer atmosphere of global football have fundamentally transformed between these two epic encounters.
Right, so to truly understand where we are in 2026, we actually have to transport ourselves back to June 11th, 2010. Just close your eyes for a second and imagine the sound. It was this massive wall of noise from thousands of vuvuzelas inside Soccer City in Johannesburg, packed with nearly 85,000 fans. Then, in the 55th minute, Sifiwe Tshabalala unleashes an absolute rocket from his left foot into the top corner of the net. And commentator Peter Jury drops this instantly iconic line: "Goal Bafana Bafana, goal for South Africa, goal for all Africa." It wasn't just a goal. Actually, it was more like an eruption of pure, unadulterated joy. It was this moment of rhythmic celebration where a whole country, really a whole continent, just seemed to rise in perfect sync.
Exactly 16 years. That is the exact number of years between that sun-drenched winter afternoon in Durban and the opening kickoff of the 2026 World Cup. As one reporter brilliantly put it, that 2010 match, even though it ended in a 1-1 draw after Rafael Marques got that equalizer, it showed South Africa the country we wanted to be for one impossible second. It was aspirational, it was romantic. But 16 years is a long time in football. And as we look at the modern game, the present day reveals a reality that is far more rigorous, highly scrutinized, and, well, utterly unsentimental.
Okay, let's dive into this because the contrast between these two fixtures is absolutely striking. Back in 2010, hosted by South Africa, we saw that fairy tale 1-1 draw driven by a joyful, unifying atmosphere that completely transcended the sport itself. But fast forward to 2026, hosted by Mexico, and we get a brutal 2-0 victory for El Tri. The 2026 game wasn't defined by a romantic fairy tale at all. It was defined by intense tactical dominance, hyper-analyzed officiating, and just absolute on-pitch chaos. It's the exact same two teams, the exact same opening stage, but a completely different universe of football.
So, let's firmly plant ourselves in the present day. June 11th, 2026. We are inside the iconic, majestic Mexico City Stadium. Over 80,000 fans are roaring, the high-altitude air is thin, and the stakes are monumentally high. The romanticism of 2010 is completely gone, replaced by the relentless pressure of the 2026 World Cup, a tournament that has really ushered in a highly tactical and completely unsentimental era of global soccer.
Let's look at 2026, the rematch and the stars.
Now, what's really interesting here is that Javier Aguirre is amazingly back at the helm for Mexico. The very same manager who coached them in that 2010 opener. But this time around, his squad wasn't settling for a draw. They came out with this immediate, high-altitude, aggressive attack against South Africa, completely determined to break their historical opening day curse and secure 3 points right out of the gate. And you can see on screen just how lopsided this strategy made the match statistically. Mexico commanded a staggering 61% possession compared to South Africa's 39%. But the real story? That's the attempts at goal. Mexico had 16 total attempts, just peppering the South African defense, while South Africa could only muster 3. Mexico completely capitalized on their opponent's mistakes in possession, using their 3-man attacking line to suffocate the South African midfield. It was a masterclass in modern tactical control.
And this control translated directly to the timeline of El Tri's victory. It started early. Just 9 minutes in, Julian Quiñones, who was literally everywhere on the pitch, struck the ball right through the legs of South African goalkeeper Ronwen Williams to open the scoring. Then, fast forward to the 66th minute, we witness a historic debut by Gilberto Mora, which we'll touch on in just a second. And literally 1 minute after that, at minute 67, Raul Jimenez delivers a powerful header off a gorgeous assist from Roberto Alvarado. This was an incredibly emotional moment for Jimenez, scoring his first World Cup goal just months after tragically losing his father to pancreatic cancer. You could absolutely feel the catharsis in the stadium.
Actually, I want to quickly highlight that 66th minute substitution because it is historic. Gilberto Mora stepped onto the pitch at just 17 years and 240 days old. This makes him the youngest Mexican and youngest North American player to ever feature at a World Cup, edging out a CONCACAF record that had been held by Manuel Rosas all the way since the very first World Cup back in 1930. It's just a brilliant symbol of Mexico's evolving, youthful future stepping up on the biggest stage.
Moving on to the chaos, 3 historic red cards.
So, while Mexico's tactical brilliance was spectacular, it was completely overshadowed by what happened next. Because this game didn't end with 22 men on the field. It ended with 19. Yep, 3 red cards were dealt in the opening match of the 2026 World Cup. This level of disciplinary action is practically unheard of for an opener. In fact, this was the first 3 red card World Cup game since the infamous Battle of Nuremberg between Portugal and the Netherlands way back in 2006. To put this in perspective, the entire 2018 World Cup had only 4 red cards total. The 2022 World Cup, also 4. This single 2026 match nearly matched those entire tournament totals in just 90 minutes. It definitely set a gritty, unforgiving tone for the whole tournament.
Let's actually walk through this rapid deterioration step by step to see exactly what referee Wilton Sampaio was dealing with out there. Step 1. Right after halftime in the 49th minute, South Africa's Shpepelo Sithole brings down Brian Gutierrez, denying a clear goal-scoring opportunity. Instant red card. Step 2. In the 84th minute, South African substitute Themba Zwane is sent off. But this one was different. It came after a VAR review for violent conduct due to an off-the-ball tussle where he raised his arm. Step 3. Deep into stoppage time, Mexico's Cesar Montes is dismissed for a hard foul on the edge of the box, meaning he'll be suspended for Mexico's next game against South Korea.
Let's look at the evolution of football rules.
Now you might be wondering, was this just a spectacularly messy game by chance? The answer is no. This avalanche of discipline is a direct consequence of how modern soccer is being governed right now. The sport is evolving and the rulebook is tightening dramatically. The crucial point here is understanding the new IFAB guidelines driven by Pierluigi Collina, FIFA's head of refereeing. Collina's explicit aim for this tournament is to clean the game as much as possible. We now have rules threatening red cards for players who cover their mouths during confrontations. We have 5-second countdowns for throw-ins. And crucially, we have significantly broadened VAR powers that specifically target off-the-ball behavior and confrontational conduct. This explains exactly why VAR stepped in to eject Themba Zwane for that off-the-ball arm raise. The system is designed to catch what the referee misses, and it is entirely unapologetic about it.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why this comparison matters so much. When you put 2010 and 2026 side by side, you see a massive, undeniable shift in the actual soul of the sport. We've moved from the spontaneous, unifying joy of Sifiwe Chabalala dancing by the corner flag to a rigorous, highly officiated, technologically driven modern era. The game in 2026 is faster, the tactics are sharper for sure, but the room for error, behaviorally and systematically, has been reduced to absolute zero.
Which leaves us with a pretty massive question as we watch the rest of this tournament unfold. Did the new rules make the game better or just more brutal? Are we sacrificing the flow and romance of the game for the sake of hyper-sanitized discipline? It's something every fan will have to decide for themselves as we continue to watch this fascinating era of global football evolve. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this incredible matchup. Keep your eyes on the pitch, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.